Kelly Zitlow. Here we are.
I know.
It's finally happening.
Yeah.
The Sunshine Warrior podcast.
I know.
How long have we talked about this?
A while.
A while.
Yeah.
We're finally here.
Here we are.
Here we are. I thought it would be really fun for the very first podcast that we've been talking about forever to just interview you about your inspiration for Sunshine Warrior, how it all came about, what the plan is, the vision, and all that good stuff.
All
What do you
right.
think? Are you game?
Yeah. No, I'm game. I hope I don't cry, but yes, I'm game. I'm going to pull it together.
I hope you do cry. That makes
No.
a good podcast. Don't you guys think so?
No.
Okay. So question number 1. What was that pivotal moment in your life that sparked the creation of Sunshine Warrior?
Well, at first it was a thought before it became a thing, if that makes any sense. So, as many of you know, my mom was diagnosed with cancer, and it was really in the moment that I found out she had cancer that this thought dropped into my head and this concept of Sunshine Warrior, and it was because of her. So, it was a Thursday and it was in January. I just remember the day so clearly. I was in a meeting with my team and my mom was calling my phone, and I was like, oh, I'll just call her back, because I had just talked to her. I would talk to my mom every single morning on the way to work. That was just our pattern,
Right.
So I was like, oh, I just talked to her. She probably forgot something. I'll just talk to her, in a bit. So I'm still in the meeting, and pretty soon I see her head kind of across the cubicles in my office. So we're in the conference room. I see her walking, and then I see her going to my office, and then I see my dad behind her. I was like, well, that's weird. Okay, something must be going on. And then I go to, oh my God, I hope everything's okay, right? Family, everything's okay, all that kind of thing. So I excused myself from the meeting and went into my office, and I remember standing there, and I remember exactly where she stood. And she just said, I have stage 4 cancer. I know. And I lost it.
Right?
Unlike I've never lost it like that. I didn't even know what that sound ever sounded like. I didn't know what those feelings felt like.
Mm-hmm.
And it was such a shock because she had just had gallbladder surgery, and everything was fine, and she was fine. There was no signs of anything anyway. So she stood there, and I could see the mother in her.
Mm-hmm.
And the mother in her was like, oh, my baby is crying, my baby's sad, my baby's hurting. And so this what I call warrior kind of spirit, I just saw it. I just saw it in her. And I saw this light, and I saw this strength, and I could see it. And I was like, oh, wow, what is that? While I'm still just trying to process all the news. And she's not crying. She's not crying. She's just wanting to make me, console me, And in that moment, I just heard this thing that was Sunshine Warrior. And I looked at her, and she truly was always sunshine. If you knew my mom, you knew that Candy Hunt
She was
sunshine, and she had so much light, and she had that light in this devastating, horrible, tragic news moment.
Yeah.
And then that warrior spirit, I could just see come alongside of it. And so it was it. That was the moment where I coined kind of this Sunshine Warrior thought, and she was so inspiring to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think as we then prepared to kind of go through battle, I found that same spirit in myself, because, that apple does not fall far from that tree, let me tell you. So
Nope.
I was like, okay, and so the Sunshine Warrior concept really started to fuel me and fuel her. And we went on this journey together through surgery, chemo, the whole thing, and just kind of took on a life of its own. But it was really what led us through that time.
Right.
And we would just be like, all right, come on now. Where's the sunshine? All right, come on now.
Mhm.
Like, where's that warrior? We got to dig deep. This is going to be a tough day, whatever was going on,
Yeah.
So, so that was it. That's kind of how it came about. And yeah.
Can I share a story that kind of goes along that about your mom?
Sure. Lots of stories about Candy.
I don't remember exactly if I was I was either pregnant with the twins or I had just had them, somewhere around there. And your mom had come in the office and she was talking to me about like how things were going, and I was whining,
She did not do well with whining.
I mean, it's pretty overwhelming, the whole twin thing, right? And like I said, I don't remember if I was pregnant, but I had a really tough pregnancy. So it could have been that, or it could have been, just being with them, two babies at once. And she said, well, Shay, I'm going to tell you what I've always told Kelly Lynn. You're just going to have to put your big girl pants on.
That's right.
And you know what? It was so good because I heard her in that moment, quit complaining.
Yeah.
Suck it up. There's work to do.
Yeah.
And you can do it.
Yeah.
Right? That's the thing. We can do hard things.
We can do hard things. So that's the warrior part of her,
Right.
And I always knew it. I always knew she had both of this kind of tough person that could get through tough, hard things. And then, but most of the time it was light. But whenever she needed to get that tough, feisty warrior thing, it would come. She was somebody you just did not want to put back into a corner.
No.
And, but that was it. Just being raised by my mom was just suck it up. And for those of you that know me too, I'm always suck it up, buttercup. Let's go.
Let's go. Yeah. It's completely you.
But it's so my mom.
Yeah, it is your mom, but it is you.
I guess.
You know what I mean?
I guess. I mean, again, so this is where the sunshine warrior, that's what gave it soul. That's what gave it a name. That's what kind of defined what we were going through and who she was. And I guess in some part who I am too. And who I think a lot of people are. And this is really what, as the journey's gone now over the years, I think there's so many people out there that have light and they're also fighters. And I just had this inspiration to find those people and build a community and then bring light to people who are in that moment of despair or need strength from other people or a community. And that's really the path we're on now. So.
Right. Okay, so I have a good one for you. How do you balance cherishing the past with letting go of what no longer serves you, both personally and at work?
Intentionality. So I really think, breathe, and process a lot more than I did when I was younger. I just try to refrain from that immediate spark. I'm fiery. I've always been sassy and, just that fire. The fire is still there, but it's much more controlled. And I think about things more. And I think
you've learned how to tame it.
Huh?
You've learned how to tame it.
I've learned how to control it.
Control it.
I think that's a better word than tame it. It doesn't mean it's not there. It just means that I'm really okay, in this moment, who do I need to be? Who do they need me to be? What's the circumstance need right now? So I can talk myself through that much better than I could, 20 years ago.
I need some coaching on that.
Well, I read a lot. I listen to a lot. I listen more than I read. I love YouTube because, part of my morning process is to pour into my soul and pour into my head and grow as my person. And so I listen to all kinds of things that help me, just give me thought about, okay, whether that's breathing. So prior to this, I'm doing my box breathing, just because this is raw. This is me, and this is something that means so much to me that, I get nervous about doing this. So.
It means you're human.
Oh, there's that too.
There's that, right? In moments of self-doubt, what inner voice or guiding principle keeps you moving forward with faith and positivity?
Well, I'm a big believer that the story we tell ourselves isn't always true.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever it is in that moment where I start to have doubts, can I do this? Am I the right person for this? What if I fail? All the negative stuff. I've learned that sometimes I'm saying things that aren't truthful. So I stop myself, really, and it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
And then start to find the gratitude, start to find the positivity, start to find what I can do well.
Do you have like questions that like you ask yourself? Like sometimes I feel like we're telling ourselves something and we don't even recognize that it's not the truth.
Mm-hmm.
How do you bring yourself back to recognize what's really true
Mm-hmm.
and what's just, spiraling in your head?
Yeah. Well, I think I just try to stop myself more now than I used to when I was younger. So now I'll be like, why are you saying that? Here's the one thing. If you are saying something to yourself that you would never say to another human being, you already know you're off track.
Right.
You already know that there's likely not truth to that.
So you mean like negative self-talk about
Negative
you?
self-talk about
Right.
yourself. So if you're
Mhm.
like, oh my God, I've got this big thing going on, or I can't do that, or, oh my God, I can't believe I said that. I'm so stupid. Like all these things, we're all human. We all do this on some level. I just try not to do that. And it doesn't mean I'm perfect and I still fall into that, but I just be like, you know what? I'm more aware and I'll be better next time.
Mm-hmm.
And I pray a lot. God, give me grace.
Mm-hmm.
Give me grace through this moment. Give me grace with myself. Give me grace with others. Help me to really fulfill whatever his purpose is in my life.
I love that. What's one unconventional lesson about resilience or transformation that Sunshine Warrior has taught you?
You're going to make me cry.
You're going to cry again? Okay.
I think that right after my mom passed, I wrote these lessons learned, which we'll share at some point. And they were very, really raw. And I think I was just in such grief that it was just like coming out of me. I couldn't stop it. And, I think one of the lessons that I learned is we do tell ourselves, I could never.
Mm-hmm.
I could never live without you, Mom.
Mm. Right.
I could never, whatever that is. And then I realized that I can.
You can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sucks, but I can, So I don't know, I think it's just, again, the messages, the messaging, what we tell each other.
Mm-hmm.
And
never say never.
Never say never. Mm-hmm. That's right.
Right.
And through every challenge, there's a gift.
Yeah.
Even as when you can't see it and you're in the thick of it, there is something good that's going to come from that.
Mm-hmm.
And I can honestly say that, having lost my mom, if there was anything good that came from that, I was blessed. She died in my brother and I's arms. I mean, what a beautiful gift that we were given. A lot of people don't have that.
No.
So I'm thankful that that's the way it ended. Now I'm making you cry.
I know.
This is not a cry
fest. Well, I think that is a good segue into what I wanted to talk to you about next, which is you've explained how Sunshine Warrior came about and all these great, very personal things. Thank you for sharing. I know somebody's watching and really connecting and feeling not alone because they felt the same way that you felt. One thing since Sunshine Warrior started is there's been somewhat of a misconception about it being a cancer group or a survivors group. I know we've cried a lot of tears today, but it's not really about the tears.
No, it's about life. It's about light. It's about community. It's about sharing our light with other people and taking them on the journey with us and being with each other on each other's journey. It's about having strength when somebody else is weak. And it's about accepting when we're weak and being able to accept strength from other people. And it truly is about just, we all have this God-given purpose and showing up every day, knowing we can get through hard things, and also just appreciating the beautiful things. As difficult as the journey has been, life is a gift. And I'm so grateful to be here and so grateful to have people in my life and to be able to share that we can do whatever it is we truly set our minds to. I mean, except for maybe algebra. Because if my high school algebra teacher's watching, then for sure she's going to say, you still can't do algebra. And that's true.
I can't do algebra either.
For the most part, like if there's something,
But if we wanted to do algebra,
we could figure it out.
We could figure it out.
It's true. I guess when I was a sophomore in high school, I didn't want to figure it out. I don't know.
Okay.
But
well, coming back to that, and again, just about supporting each other. And I was never good at math. And when I was going to real estate school, I said, I don't know if I can pass the exam because I'm not good at math. And you're like, there you go with that negative self-talk. And, it was kind of a put your big girl pants moment
figure it out.
And I passed my real estate exam on the first try.
I know, which is a big deal in Arizona. It
kind of is a big deal, yeah.
Most things are figure outable.
Right?
That's another lesson. Just
right?
Really, I mean, I'm like...
Well, it was the story I was telling myself. Was it true? No.
Right.
I found out, like you said, if I put my mind to it, then I could accomplish it.
Yeah.
Right.
And put all the, the negative stuff away. And, when I was going through my public speaking, learning how to public speak, and it was very difficult for me. There really was a point in my life where I kind of can see my brain, and one side of it is the negative talk and the other side of it is the beauty and the grace and the excitement for life and the passion and the laughter and sometimes this side gets loud. And for me, it did. And that's really what stood in my way of public speaking. So I'm very cognizant of that because it wasn't until I could control the negativity that I was able to learn how to embrace the beauty of being able to share with people on stage.
I'm so glad you did. We wouldn't be here today, right? Let's talk about the podcast.
Okay.
What's your vision for the podcast and how are we going to spark change and inspire those who are lost or need light or need love? Like, what's the goal with the Sunshine Warrior podcast?
It's to tell the Sunshine Warrior story and to find those people out there that know somebody, or maybe that person is you, that, we can share experience. I think we as humans, we connect to each other through story. And story has always been one of the things, even as a little girl, before I go to bed, I just loved stories. Even now, my husband tells me a story, or I listen to Paul Harvey before I go to sleep and he says the story. Like, I just love the story. I feel like it's how it connects us. So really the inspiration behind the podcast is to bring those stories to light and to life. Most journeys have some ups and downs. I don't know about yours, but I mean, mine clearly has had lots of ups and downs. The lessons that we learn as we go through that, and bring the inspiration and bring the reality of this was so hard and here is how I got through it. And I think if we can do that and still bring the sunshine and the light, because at the end, the light is really the guiding force, even when it's really dark around us.
Right. If somebody's out there and they have a Sunshine Warrior story to share, what do they do?
Well, we want to hear it.
Reach out
and again, you're going to have to come and talk and,
maybe cry
or maybe we do it virtual. I mean, again, anything is on the table. If you or somebody has a story that fits with the Sunshine Warrior soul, we want to hear the story and we want to share the story so others can be lifted and continue to just take that inspiration and lift those around them.
Okay, Kelly Zitlow, Sunshine Warrior, we did it. Your first podcast.
We did it. Boom. Hey, everybody, just remember, no matter how difficult things are, you have an amazing light inside of you. Don't forget to shine bright and light up the world. It needs it. I need it. We need it.